I can't hear a thing you're saying. It's because you're not in the you're not in the broadcast. I should bring Del in, and we're going to get things rolling here. All right. How's that sound, Del? You up for it? You're coming in, whether you like it or not. Here we go. There he is. How's it going, man?
Good evening, website view.
I do appreciate it. That's really cool. So we had technical difficulties. Let me explain what kind of happened there for anybody who is joining in with things right now. What ended up happening was we had timed. Long story short, I took a trip into. Hold on here, just checking things out, making sure. Sorry. So I'm just sending a message into our there we go, into our guest, just so he can make sure that he gets there, gets to the broadcast. So here's what happened there. So we took a trip into BC last week, came back on Wednesday, and returning Wednesday sounds great, but for some reason the computer hadn't kicked over the time frame wise, and when I did the scheduling, it scheduled it for 6:30 on BC time as opposed to 7:30 our time, because that is what time it is there. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. So it set everything up. It was working just fine for that time. So when we went to go live, it would not click in. So that's it. That's all I got. You okay with that, man?
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure, right?
I mean, listen.
It's live. That's what happens.
It's the miracle of time travel. You change time zones. Like, do you have a flux capacitor?
I should probably work on that. It's something I should maybe have.
Whatever. I'll tell you a funny story about that.
Tell me. Oh, by the way, remember?
Wait,
Tracy,
let me tell you.
Tracy Martin from high school. She's watching the show right now. Say hi.
Hey, hi, Tracy Martin from high school.
Love it.
Carolyn and I went to Vegas last year, and we were there for a few days and had a concert to go to and had dinner reservations. Yeah. And we showed up a little bit early for our dinner reservation, like 10 minutes. And they kind of looked at us like we were out to lunch. We're like, yeah, we're 10 minutes early. Yeah, stuff happens. We'll go eat.
Right.
We went to China Poblano, by the way. You've been there with me in Vegas.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then we went to see U2 at the T1 Mobile Arena. And we got there. And I like to get to a concert an hour before the concert just to check it out, especially when it's a new venue. Right. And got in there. And, it was like 10 minutes before showtime, and there were about 200 people in the arena. Mm-hmm. So Carolyn and I look at each other and think, well, is U2 really that sad of a band now? 200 people are showing up. Right. So I went and asked the usher. I said, well, what time does the concert start? Is it 8:00? And he looks at his chart, and he's got a clipboard and a chart. He goes, yeah, everything's scheduled for 8:00, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay.
And then you froze, right? Because that's what live broadcasts do. That's awesome. I think I know the end of this story. Time zone change. That is too funny. So this is the way it goes. This is the website VU broadcast, and we do it live. So what happens in the live end, of course, is things go wrong. Things get messed up. And when we're doing it live, this is good. So as I can see there, I can see our guest has entered the lobby. That's a good thing. I'm just talking with myself right now, my friend. So what ended up happening, just a quick recap for all of our guests or anyone who might be watching, whether it be recorded or not. It's live. It's a live broadcast. So these are the kinds of things that happen. I scheduled the show last week after I'd returned from BC. So with the time zone change, it tried to go live at 6:30, and after 10 minutes, Facebook cancels it. So I had to quickly do a new one and make sure that it was up on the website and get it out to everybody. So I want to thank anyone who is watching for paying attention to that part and getting things rolling. And I want to thank our guests for being there and showing up here. So much appreciated. This is great. My co-host got kicked off, so he's going to be trying to come in again. This is great. Love live stuff. So without further ado, let's kind of go into here what we're going to be doing today. I'm just going to tell our co-host here to come back and see what happens. Okay, so here's what we got. Tonight's guest that we have on here. First of all, just a quick what the show is all about. This is a no-holds-barred, kind of down and dirty, gloves-off broadcast where we just talk about the reality in the industries, okay? What that comes down to is everybody is involved in some sort of marketing with their companies and the companies that they deal with and the things that they do. And this is what it really amounts to, is that we get sold a lot and we don't talk a lot about the reality and the solid, if you want to get the crap behind all this stuff. We try to make it all shiny and sound good. So we want to expose all the things and talk about the issues that are within our industries. So the guy you got coming right now, we're talking an international speaker, coach, author, founder of Champion Up. Okay, he shares the Champion Up movement. He's for 16 years in the human development and achievement field, while earning a BS, and I don't mean the kind of BS we talk on the show. We're talking bachelor of science, okay, degree in exercise science. That's really cool. To overcome difficult challenge, our guest discovered that to start winning in life, changes had to occur with a set system in place, okay, to help condition habits and behaviors for lasting change. Love that. He works with entrepreneurs by assisting them with time productivity and time management, by offering courageous solutions to change, by providing the strategy and tools to up-level their creativity, that they'll so they'll have more energy to free up their time and do things they love while building a successful business. That's a tough thing that we all get into. Yeah. Now, the system that was gathered from his years of experience in human development, customer service, team building, and coaching and achievements in biomechanics/martial arts. Can you believe that? There. Oh, Dell's back. Here he is.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, you're back. So I'm doing the intro, dude. Okay. This guy, he knows how to inspire and educate audiences of all types and sizes to succeed more by performing within a system that conditions one for winning. I like to win. That's a good thing. So we're going to welcome to the broadcast is our number 3, just jumping in right now, Adrian Starks. Adrian, you are live. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I am absolutely fantastic, and I'm glad to be on your guys' show. I couldn't be much happier, man.
Oh, really good to see you. Now, I guess a quick, I believe in being transparent. I was on Adrian's show back a while ago, the Purposeful Life Show. It's a podcast that is available. It's through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitched, and Spotify, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And now it's on iHeartRadio.
Oh, I love that. That's
very cool.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. That's one of my faves, so it's good. So yeah, Adrian, like I said, awesome to have you here. Now, as we kind of do in the intro, we do talk about, I guess, just for the sake of letting people know, this is how to get a hold of Adrian right there on his website. We should check that out. So we talk about the stuff in industries that other people don't necessarily like to talk about. I hesitate to say it's not a marketing platform, because let's face it, any kind of exposure is a marketing platform. But realistically, I wanted to kind of talk about some things in your bio. You're talking about working there as far as working with entrepreneurs, providing them strategies as almost like a business coaching type thing. And I want to be real on that. Business coaches are a dime a dozen. There's so many out there. Okay. You stand out differently. How? I told you we're blunt in this one, right?
Hey, I love it. I love being blunt. I love being straightforward. So basically I stand out because first of all, I'm myself. I'm not going to tell you that you're going to make X amount of dollars or you're going to have this perfect lifestyle. I'm going to show you how you can really have balance in your life, because that's what it's all about. I talk about the journey of success. And when we're building businesses out here, let's just be clear here. We are our businesses. And no matter how far you go, you need to be very clear about what you're showing people out there. And so that's what I call the energy level of what we do. And people's BS meters, speaking of that, not in my bio, but people's BS meters are going up really high right now. People are tired of the shit. Sorry, I had to say that word, but they're tired of this perfection mechanism of trying to be perfect. And you have to do it this way. You have to do it that way. And people just want to know, how can I create a life I like and not die in trying to do that? And how do I create a life and not burning bridges with people I truly love about? And how do I create a life and feel like I'm actually living it and not waiting to this end all result to take place? And so I love entrepreneurs because I believe entrepreneurs, they're like I call them courageous creators, basically.
Right.
Because an entrepreneur basically has an idea and a vision and a dream, and they seek out to make that happen. And that in turn makes the world a better place. And if you're out here in the world and you're trying to create something from an idea that you feel passionate about, and it's a worthy idea, you're trying to really do something for the better, I believe you're making the world a better place. And I have a love for entrepreneurs because I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs and I'm one myself.
Nice. So healthy respect because of the experience. I like that. So like, we all deal with a lot of, and Del, of course,
Greg, you froze.
You froze there, man.
It's just you and me now.
Okay, we can chime in. All right, I'll let you go. Oh, there he is.
He came back. Greg came back.
He came back. There he is.
Adrian and I were just going to do the show. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, did I disappeared?
Yeah, it's okay. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. We're better looking than you.
Oh, ouch.
It's about honesty, and it just is what it is.
Honesty is clear, man.
If I shave my head, would I be better?
No, I've got a picture of that if you want me to post it.
Either shaved head or a really low cut hair. Either way, you gotta do it that way, man. Get a close cut. There you go.
Right. I've got a picture of Greg with a shaved head, and it's about the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen in my life. It's terrible. I'm being honest. I think you're a fantastic human being, and I love you like a brother for the last 34 years, but you look terrible with a shaved head.
Okay, true side story on that. When I did shave my head, it was a charity thing, and my daughter that day and for the next week or two kept praying, "Please God, let his hair come back. Please God, let his hair come back." So yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So I'm going to chime in if I can. That's cool.
Yeah. You're co-host.
So it's one of the first entrepreneurial things that I ever did right out of high school. And I was thinking about this when I read your bio, Adrian, was a friend of mine, Mark McAllister. He's a broadcaster in Toronto now. He's a reporter. Him and I were very heavily involved in student leadership. So we decided way back in the day, we knew everything that we could possibly know about life, even though we were 18. And we set out to be motivational speakers. So we actually we started a little company called Mad Productions, which was Mark and Dell, and went out and we did a few shows. It was kind of cool. We did a few student leadership conferences. Did these we had some themes. We had a talk, and it was great. And quickly realized that we were trying to shape these young people's minds without having any life experience. It was real, if that makes any sense. So we backed away from that. And the interesting thing to me is throughout the years, I've kept in touch with a bunch of the people that are in the speaking scene in Canada. I've been lucky enough to work with some of the leading speakers in the world through some of the conferences I've organized. And man, I'm glad I'm not in that business. and it's not because I don't love it, because I watch, I try to listen to people and I try to learn every day from them. And I think that's a really important thing, no matter what level you are in business or life or what you think, you can learn something new every day and better yourself. And it's incredible on the speaking side of it when I watch people do their stuff and really, if they're good at what they do and they have a real honest to God message, it's inspiring. So, you said you're an entrepreneur, and Greg knows you better than I know you, and that's cool. But what made you want to get into doing that?
Well, like I said before, I grew up in a family full of entrepreneurs, and the idea of running your own schedule, creating your own time, and being able to just do what you like to do, not out of fear, but just because you like to do it. And here's the thing. I spent years in the 9-to-5 industry. And so I got a taste of that too. And I was not happy. I made good money. I had benefits, all those great things. But at the end of every year, I kept asking myself, why am I still not feeling like I'm accomplishing the things I want to accomplish? Why do I still feel fatigued, angry, upset, frustrated? Why am I getting the same results? And I realized that I was operating from something that I thought was true for me. And we all do this. We get conditioned to think that, well, maybe this 9 to 5 is only for me. And here's the thing, not everyone can be an entrepreneur. I'm going to say this right now. It is a tough career to have, but you got to have a passion to drill you through it. So if you are on a 9 to 5 and you're listening right now, maybe you may not be happy in a 9 to 5. Choose a different one. Choose a different place to work. Have options. But if you are a person looking to be in the entrepreneur field, like I was, you have to really understand why you're getting in there. So for me, I really had something I wanted to share with the world. And the thing that I created with Champion Up is powerful. And the reason why I've created it, because I really want to have people live lives they truly desire to live, and to create something out here in the world that they can say honestly before they die that they've done it. And that's what it's about. And for me, I do not like the term, people call me motivational speaker. I'm going to call this out right now. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not a rah-rah person. I'm not going to tell you that I've been through it. I've been through the gutter and you can get through it. We hear that a dime a dozen. People are tired of hearing that. They want inspiration. They want to be inspired to act. Why should I care that you're talking to me? And why should I care that you care? So if you lead with the head and not the heart first, you've already lost. So I lead with the heart. And the reason why I came into this industry is because I felt like I deserved to be in this industry and to speak my heart and to help people see that, look, I've worked a 9 to 5. I didn't like it. I changed it. I've been divorced. I changed it. I went through all kinds of illnesses. I changed it. I went through financial setbacks. I changed it. And I'm here to tell people that we create our lives. That's what we do. We do best as human beings. That's what our brain is designed to do. It's been here for 3 million years. So it's designed to protect us and to solve problems. But unless we learn how to solve those problems and have courageous solutions of change to solve those problems, then we're not going to get very far as a human race. And I believe it's time for us as a human race to really start creating more and becoming more. And this whole system of just saying that, well, I want to be successful. Success is different for everyone. And my success may not be yours. Your success may not be mine. And so you have to define what kind of success you want. And so Champion Up is about not just being a champion, say I'm a champion. It's the activity level of a champion. A champion is the champion word actually is a 13th century word. 13th century word. So during that time, that word was designed for people who were willing to fight for a cause. You're willing to stand up for something. They were willing to advocate for something, and they pushed to see it go through its production. So I brought the champion back from that competitive state in society that it's been deemed as, and I'm bringing it back to a human being point of view, because everybody out here deserves to be their own champion, whether they're a female, male, child, no matter what background they're from. They deserve to be that if they're willing to go the distance to do it.
Well, I'm inspired.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Sign me up. I'm not even kidding. That's fantastic. It's
isn't it though?
Well, it's interesting. You touched on a couple of things that for me, it's kind of neat because I looked at my life and some of the things I wanted to achieve in my life, and there were very specific things that I wanted to do, and without me really thinking about it, or I don't want to say not trying, but these things just happened, and it was just part of my daily life. And I took a look back. There was one year where I was published. I had a photo published in a best-selling book. I recorded an album, which was pretty cool, and I did some video work that was used on the Grammys, which was pretty cool. But for me, it was just all. It was work. It was just what I was doing. It wasn't. It was passionate, and that's what I love to do. I love to create, which is great. But it was just part of the day to day. It wasn't that special. And then when I took a look back on it and thought, wow, okay, I did this stuff, and that's pretty cool. But I don't feel this like awe-inspiring thing in me that I did it. So what's it going to take for me to feel that awe-inspiring thing? And for me, it's not work. Work is not the awe-inspiring thing to me. I love my job. I'm very passionate about my job. I love, it was funny, Greg and I had a conversation earlier today because I do have a 9-to-5 job. And I was an entrepreneur, and I quit my entrepreneurship to do this 9-to-5 job. And now I've got,
Yep.
and now I've got more freelance work on top of my 9-to-5 job than I ever had before. But I love the work I do. I love creating for people, and I love them being part of the creative process. And when you're talking about not being a motivational speaker and try to instill inspiration and positivity and help people like that. I love that. But here's my question to you. I've been to leadership sessions, to a ton of things, and I love that stuff. And it's great. And you walk out of there feeling like you're walking on air. And then how do you weave that into your life to make sure it's something you keep doing?
Well, you got to know why you showed up there in the first place. That's the first thing. And then two, people can tell you things, but you have to really want to implement it in your life. Like, we live in an information era. So obviously you can find out anything you want on Google. That's so easy. However, when people inspire you instead of motivate, you're wanting to take action immediately. This is the difference. When someone motivates you, they make you feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there is no action plan following that. There's no action steps. What's that call to action that you need to do in order to implement that right away? And when you inspire from the heart, you really come at it from a system of, I want you to really take what I'm saying and to use it not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. And inspire really means from within. That's where it starts. Inspire. It means within. It means to take in. It means within. And motivate is a very interesting term, because I can motivate you to go to the movies. I can say, hey guys, there's this new film out right now. I really like it. I think you should go and see it. And I could just be like pumped up about it. And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I want to go see the movie. But if you really don't have that drive, you're not going to go and see it. You're just going to walk by the theater and probably think, well, sounds like it's a good movie. And a lot of people do that. They get pumped up and motivated, but they don't really know why and what to do next after that. And this era has changed now. I mean, back in the days when we had people like Zig Ziglar, let's see here, Earl Nightingale, Jim Rohn, I'm going to call it these old school guys, even Les Brown's part of the era, Tony Robbins. I mean, these guys, they had a certain energy about them that was just unique. And at any day of the week, you could say, hey, let's just get you on stage. And they didn't have to have any props. They didn't have to have any time. They just get on stage and they go at it. They would have a workshop the same day because they were built on teaching. And that's why I say when we inspire, we teach. If you're a person that's listening to this right now and you're saying you're a motivational speaker, I want to ask you, well, why do you want to be a motivational speaker? What does it matter to you you're a motivational speaker? And who are you trying to reach? If you're just trying to motivate people across the world, people don't need motivation. They can get that from anywhere. People need leadership. People need direction. People need honesty. They need clarity. They need people who really care. And that's why from the get-go, I separated myself from that particular title of motivational speaker. Now, people can still call me that because it's still a term that people are so easy to say, right? But they will say motivational speaker versus inspirational speaker. However, I don't consider myself a motivational speaker at all because I love to teach too. I don't need to be on the stage all the time to talk. I have just as much fun being in a classroom, a workshop, running 1-day events, running 2-3-day events. I have fun doing that. I love it. And that's what it's about, to inspire. And motivation is great. I'm not saying it's wrong, but at the end of the day, we got to ask ourselves, how willing am I to act on this motivation? Is it just a feeling of excitement, or is it some desire, some need that I need to do something different? And this is where inspiration really takes over from motivation.
So you're really trying to hit to the root of where people, where their passions are, and kind of helping to drive them from within, as opposed to just give them some interest and some motivation and feel good for the night, like what Dell's saying, right?
Absolutely. And it's all about your values too. We got to really start defining about what are our values. Everybody's values are different. Like the dog barking in the background here, but there's
his values are different too. It's all good,
right? And we have to start acknowledging our value system and what is meaningful to us, not because of what other people have told us, not because of what we think people want, but really, what is your value system? Do you know what your values are when you wake up in the morning, and are you operating from those values? And are you operating out of fear? Or are you operating out of courage? Most people operate out of fear because they don't want anyone to dislike them or to reject them. It's not failure people fear, it's rejection.
So do you
That's
see
what
that
it
then? Do you see that then as a big change within the industry? So yeah, we're talking about public speaking, motivational, that kind of stuff, and it's come from somewhere. So people know the base being the motivational speaker thing, and they go out there and they invest in some programs and they invest in some coaching and so on and so forth. And let's be real, there's a lot of shysters out there that go in and
there have been for years, and the reason for this is because when you see people who are well developed and they get on stage and they speak so well and they do it in a short amount of time, you have to realize too that people like the big names that we know now, they have spent years studying psychology, studying sociology, doing their homework. They make it look easy, but it's not. And then you have people that come behind them. They're thinking, well, if I can just read a couple books and then get pumped up and then just want to teach, it's not the same. It's not the same because people can see through you. And once again, we're living in an era of the BS meter. People are tired of this crap about I can fix you. No, I don't want to be fixed. I want to know that I'm seen. I want to know that my life counts. And I want to know that I have the responsibility to change however I choose to. And I can make an impact in the world. That's what people want.
Wow. well put, my friend. Well put. So how can people, because you talk about the change in the day and age, and there's some real things that we got to look at. First of all, population increase. Okay, this is going to sound a little weird. Okay, but realistically, with population increase, we get a dramatic, huge number, or I guess exponential growth in industries with people trying to be whatever they may be. I'm going to be a graphic designer. I'm going to be a web designer. I'm going to be a public speaker. I'm going to be an IT professional. More people, they're all trying to get in there. So that immediately that's going to cut back on our income potential because there's a lot more people trying to do it. So prices will come down. There's more people vying for different positions. So people are going to be shopping around more. And trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. So in all that, do you believe that we are we're in the midst of, or do you see that the world is changing as far as their focus? Is it still looking towards we're going to make our millions and be super rich, or like where do you think we stand on these things?
I think the world's actually standing on a good place. I always look at the optimism of things.
Good.
I believe that things are shifting now. Even if you see it in the educational system, they're focusing a lot more on creativity. They're focusing a lot more now on expression for the children and even adults too. I mean, we've seen this happen with the baby boomers. I mean, they're realizing now that, man, shit, what we were told is not true. And now they're shifting and now they're changing their ideologies about life and going back to those things they love to do that they avoided doing before. And I feel like we are living in an era where we're getting back to self-reliance and self-autonomy, where the individual is really focusing more on what is meaningful to them. And I believe that no matter what is going on around this world, no matter what the media perpetuates or what we see, that the world is actually becoming better. It has to. Everything in this world has to evolve and become better over time. That's the only way things thrive. So no matter what people think may be going backwards, it's really a small, minute fraction to what's actually happening with this thing. Look what you guys are holding right now. You're making a big impact in the world doing this. So when people say to me that, well, what do you think the world's going, or you think it's going in a bad place? Absolutely not. It's not going in a bad place. The world's not designed to go in a bad place. People decide to go in bad places. We make that choice to be stuck. We make that choice to not, as I say, grow forward. And I say grow, Grow, grow forward. It's easy to just to walk, keep your eyes closed. But when you decide when you're going to move with something over time and change because you want to, and to implement those things that you're learning from other people and you're reading about and you're seeing, constructively put that into your lifestyle, you're going to grow no matter what happens around the world. And I really want people to start stepping up and being more active in creating what they truly feel passionate about. I truly believe that we all have a right to create what we want to create in this world and to live our better lives. I don't really believe in saying best life or being our best version. I'm going to share with you this why.
Yeah. Why is that? Yeah.
Because if we are our best life and our best version, then there's no reason to grow. At that point, you're done. You reach the ceiling. At that point, you only stay where you are, you go down. Human beings, we're here to do three things. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to fully express ourselves. And it's an ongoing cycle. And if you do that cycle correctly, you're going to find yourself continuing to rise, and rise. And yeah, you're going to have challenges along the way. But challenges are part of change, because think about the word challenge. Change is hidden inside of that. That's what challenge is. Challenge is change hidden. So when changes happen abruptly to us, they challenge us because we can't see it coming. So the idea of life is challenge. Without challenge, we cannot grow. And to the people listening who may be going through a very hard moment in your life right now, in a struggle, and I don't know what your background may be. I'm not saying that just to accept it and deal with it. No, I'm not saying that. We have a right to feel our emotions and to go whatever level we need to go through. However, challenges are not here to take us backwards. They're here to take us forward. It's up to us to decide how we move through that challenge. And we got to learn to accept, embrace, and address changes.
Very nice, very nice. Now, I'm gonna throw an extra. You say we're here for three things, or that human beings are driven by three things. There, I'm gonna add one for you. I kind of personally believe that we're also there to work with each other, because part of the stuff that we're doing, it's not just on the individual side. It is, granted, but I think a part of the thing is bringing things up and moving forward together. Look at technology. Look at the different.
Oh, you froze there. You're back now.
I froze. That happens with live. So my IT guy's watching this. And he's freaking out. I'm not kidding. He is watching this and he's freaking out. Guaranteed. But no, you look at the different ages. So we've gone through the industrial age. We're in the information age now. And as things grow in that, we're coming through this. We're having these I guess this exponential type growth now, and it's not from individuals. It's individuals who get that the accolades, but it's a lot of people who are working towards this growth, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we need to understand that we're not in this world alone.
No,
that's important.
Yeah, this is saying that no man's an island, and I like to rephrase that and say no woman or no man or no living thing is an island. I mean, we are all here as part of a system. And either you're a part of the system and you flow, or you're against it. And we see what happens when you go against a system of being co-collaborators in creation. Either you stand out and you don't go very far, or either you find yourself like you're in quicksand and you just stay there. So you have to really collaborate with people. And I'm glad you brought that up, Greg, because and this comes to business too. For a long time, business was about, well, what can you do for me? And then I'll work with you. And now business has shifted. It's like, well, how can I trust you? And what do I know about you consistently enough to allow me to feel like I can give you my time? And so now we're looking at business from a different perspective. People want to do business with people that they can trust and that they know. I'm not saying that you got to know everyone, but it's how you show up. And when you show up as a person that you work with people very well, you are able to, like, for instance, with me, you told me to be here at this time and I was here. And if I just all of a sudden told you, hey, I'm not going to be here. And then all of a sudden you guys would be like, well, hey, we set up our time for this guy and he didn't show up. So are you going to put me back on your calendar for next time? Probably not. And we have to start realizing that's part of working with people. You got to be able to show up. And when you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't fall back. Do it. And make sure you're clear about why you did it, and to be honest with yourself and be honest with others. And in this world is a beautiful place, man. I really feel like, I see things that are going on. For our audience watching today, I'm not oblivious to what atrocities are going on around the world. I do see them. I do recognize them. And I do have sympathy for those who are experiencing them. And what we can do as human beings is understand that it's good for us to have sympathy and empathy. But at the same time, it's up to us to realize that if we have the ability to not experience that we should not complain, that we should allow ourselves to find better ways in our lives to create a better world and to experience better things and to teach people how to do the same.
So that focus on relationships there, appreciate that. I very much stand the same spot with you there. So I can't debate and argue that and throw a weird angle on that one. That's for sure. I mentioned my IT guy as his. He had a nice statement here. Credibility, golden rule. Love that. He also said, yeah, when I said he was freaking out, by the way. Okay, so.
Someone just said credibility here. Golden rule. That's right. Credibility.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's where it is.
Absolutely. So, the whole building of relationships things. So do you see, like, I'm starting to get at the belief when I talk about, earlier as far as the population growth, as far as, so many people getting into these different things, and you're talking about our change in focus being more in the relational base, which is I think that's awesome. I think it's right bang on. With that kind of change happening, this is neat how I'm just moving people around here. With that change happening there, do you see a focus being different than as far as what people's goals in business are like? What are business goals? What do you see entrepreneurs now shooting for as far as their ultimate goals and what they deem as being success?
Reliability in relationships. They're looking at collaborations. They're looking at ways of finding the bridges between what they're trying to accomplish in other people. So it's a co-collaborative thing. I believe I had a podcast about this 2 weeks ago about collaborating and sponsorships, and people are realizing in business they can't do it alone. Right. And if you're running a business, you're going to need some help. But at the same time, you'll have to help others too. And so now we're moving into this system where it's like it's not competing anymore, and it's more about creating. And so if people are competing, then you can compete all you want to. Like, for instance, for me, I'm not worried about what people are doing that's different than me. I'm only concerned with being better and finding ways to help other people. I keep my head forward.
Right.
And if there's someone trying to compete with me, they've already lost because they put my head above theirs. That's what competition is, really. When you're looking at someone else and you're saying they're up here, I want to get them down, you're already below them at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, hey, I'm going to keep it in my lane and focus on being me, focus on creating and getting better, then that's fine. I think it was Oprah Winfrey. She said this. There was one time when she was doing her talk show, her staff came to her and said, hey, we've got another person in your area that's a great talk show host, and they're doing X, Y, and Z. And Oprah said, I don't want to know the X, Y, and Z of what they're doing. I want to know the X, Y, and Z of what we can do better with ourselves on our end. And that to me was just powerful, because we think that people are competing, but true honesty, successful people don't compete. Competition naturally happens because people put it that way. You'll see people say, well, this is better than this, the comparison game. But businesses, really true, authentic businesses, they're more focused on collaborations and how they can make each other better. Because if I'm making my business better, I make yours better, then we're both winning.
Interesting. Del, you're laughing there. Go for it. You had something there.
Yeah, totally. When you're talking about competition and versus working together, it's pretty funny. So, Greg and I, Greg still does it, but when I had my business, we ran very similar businesses. And
hold it. Can I jump in on that one? I got to tell what happened there.
You guys were competing. What?
It was hilarious. So Del and I grew up together and went to school, and we're best friends back in high school in London, Ontario. Okay. So, years later I moved out here. He moves out. We kind of lost touch for whatever reasons, and he was younger than me. So he had more things to do before I did or after I did. So anyway, what happens? He comes out here. He's working satellite office for somebody in Toronto. He ends up getting a long story short, gets laid off. Oops. And because of the layoff, he says, okay, I'm gonna start a company. And I said, awesome, man. What are you gonna do? And he tells me, and he starts telling me all the things that I do as a company. I said, so what you're telling me is you're gonna be my direct competition. Yeah. My next response was, cool, let's see your logo. And I said, here's what maybe we should do on it, and gave him some ideas to make it better. I think it's a good and healthy thing. So go for it.
Oh yeah, no, and we we worked on a bunch of projects together, and there was never a time when I would have a problem referring a client to Greg if I knew Greg had a higher skill set in a particular area than me. And the same thing with Greg. It went back and forth. And there were times when we both collaborated on the same projects, and there were times when we both looked at something and said, we're both nuts if we decide to work with these people. And it got to a point, in all honesty, it was so good. It got to a point where we were going to start our own business together, and then I had a great opportunity with another company, and it didn't work out. But I still don't have a problem running something past Greg if it's a design thing with my freelance stuff, and he the same thing. Every now and then he'll show me something and ask me what I think about it. And I think, when you talk about competition, it's interesting because the industry that I work in now is strongly competitive across Western Canada. And, we do look at what our competitors do, but we have to understand not necessarily, what their sale of the week is or what they're pitching to clients, but from a technology point of view and understanding, how we can be a better company. And I really do believe, I believe in what you're saying about competition. Like, I think we're heads and tails above anybody else. And when we started out in our industry, our goal was to change the industry and make it a safer and better industry. It's a construction industry. And, we've done that as a company, which is fantastic. And we're going to keep doing that. And, we do have competitors popping up all over the map all the time. And I want to know what they're doing, but I'm not necessarily concerned about what they're doing, if that makes sense. I want, and
that's how
you nailed it, right? No, but you nailed it.
I mean, it's healthy competition.
I look at we launched a new website in April, and we got word back from one of our major competitors that, I guess we're gonna have to launch a new website now. These guys did it. I can't think of a bigger compliment. I can't think of somebody that's more afraid of the fact that we make moves. And I watch their social media, I watch their advertising, and it's pretty similar to some of the stuff we do. So
if people spend more time competing, they miss out on the creative process. And you guys said something very important. You referred people to each other. Even when you knew that you guys were kind of like going head to head, you still said, hey, I think this would be good for Greg, be good for Dale. And so that's what we call healthy and mature competition. It just naturally happens when you have two great things that are in the same lane, so to speak, and they're doing similar things. And that just naturally happens. But when someone looks over and they try to shove the other person out of the lane because they want it all to themselves, that becomes an unhealthy way of looking at things. And competition is something that I feel is it's unnecessary to a certain extent, because it's naturally going to be someone out there that's going to be doing something similar to what you're doing. Do you think that there's other speakers out there? Absolutely. Or other people out there? Absolutely. Of course. But I'm not worried about them. I'm not concerned. I'm only concerned with just trying to find ways to fully express myself. Like I said, I'll say this again. I'm here to learn, to grow, and to fully express myself. I want to share something funny with you guys here too. So this is what happens when you get a speaker on. We take over. We take over, man.
Didn't notice.
After the question, speakers, we don't mind. So to the guest here, I'm going to go back a little bit here to an Aesop fable. I love fables, but of course you've heard this one, right? The tortoise and the hare, right? Right. So people always say slow and steady wins the race. Nah, that's just simple terminology. If you dig deep into this story, it's very ancient. And by the way, Aesop was a slave, and he taught other slaves what things not to do. And the reason why these stories were animals was because he didn't want the slave owners knowing that they were talking about them. So he made these parables be like animals. However, this story, the tortoise and the hare, it ends pretty swiftly. The turtle wins, right? And people ask, well, why did the turtle win? Well, slow and steady wins the race. No. The turtle won because it was focused. The rabbit knew it was very fast. And so the story goes, the rabbit went to this tree and decided to sleep because he knew the tortoise was way behind. When he woke up, he realized the tortoise had passed him up because he had overslept. And the tortoise was still going. The tortoise didn't stop the race. So then he tries to catch up to realize the tortoise was too far ahead. And so when you think about this fable, the tortoise didn't win because slow and steady. The tortoise won because it was focused. It didn't worry about how fast the rabbit was. The rabbit was concerned about the tortoise because the rabbit was saying, I'm better than you. I'm just going to rest on the side here. And the tortoise was like, I'm focused. And so there's one letter that separates this whole race. Think about this fable. The tortoise completed that race. The rabbit was in it to compete. Complete versus compete. One letter separates it. That's the losing letter. Complete versus compete. So if you think about that fable, one was focused on completing, the other was focused on competing. Didn't matter how slow it was, didn't matter how big it was, it completed it. So when I look at life and I look at what we're trying to do, are we trying to complete or are we trying to compete? Because whatever you start, you need to finish it. And to the people that are listening today, when you start something, stop looking to your left and right and figuring out who's telling you that it's stupid or it doesn't work or you're going to take forever to do that. Just finish it. Do it to the best of your abilities and then move on to the next thing. And then you'll be fine. But that's my rant on that.
I love it. I love it.
You've got good, healthy rants, man. I do. I love it as well. You know what? What I like in the way you address things, Adrian, is that you're talking about people being really first of all good and working with each other, which is awesome. But as you're talking here, I'm just getting this continued resonance of being true to yourself, whatever that is. And what I love about that is that I think that in this world we get taught that we have to achieve certain things, that we have to get to certain levels before we are I guess worthy or have become the extent of what we're ever supposed to be. And I think it's neat because I was talking to somebody today. I was interviewing them actually to be assisting me on a communications project, and in that. I kind of said, I've come to the realization, and Del, you'll know where I'm coming on this one. Is it's a lot of what my job here is in this world is to start things, not necessarily see as the fruition happens, but to get the ball rolling on things. High school, Minister of Activities, dances. Del, know what I'm talking about?
Sure, I did that job after you.
That's right. And one of the things that we started was, we had a school with over 2,000 kids there. And in that, when I was there, Minister of Activities, we're lucky if we got 30 people at a dance. It's insane. So we started a program and said, okay, after each event, we're going to do an overview. We're going to write up what worked, what didn't work, what our suggestions are, that kind of stuff, and get the details down. And what was it? 2 years later, talking to Del, and he's telling me, yeah, man, we had a dance. It was sold out. We had to turn people away. I'm like, that is awesome. And I said, what'd you do? And he starts telling me, and I said, that's really cool. Well done. And he called me an idiot. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, those were your suggestions.
It's so funny when you talk about, you can talk about that and it's a high school dance and you take a look at the logistics of something, you take a look at the operations of something, no matter what it is, if it's a dance or if whatever. And, we took those suggestions and we simply made a new plan and we took a chance.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people, whether it's in business, whether it's in just family life, whatever it is, there's people that are afraid to take a chance. And if you don't take a chance, you're never going to know what the outcome is, and you might fail. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're going to learn from that. You might succeed, and you're going to learn from that too. And that's exactly what we did with that dance. We moved it to a different place in the school, and it became, because the dances were always in that crappy little cafeteria back in the day, because that's just where it was. That's where we had the space to do it. We convinced the administration that it would be better to move it into the middle of the school where it was harder to contain people, harder to do this. But we had a plan and it worked. And it was great for the students because we made money and we were able to put that back into some of the activities we wanted to do. And I think we raised money for something too, a charity. I can't remember what it was. It was a long time ago. But if they're still doing dances, I'm sure that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And I want to challenge one thing that we've been talking about here, just because Del said it, just kind of hit me. We can succeed or we can fail. I have difficulty with the failure thing, and the reason being, and this is something that I kind of posted on a question that somebody in our circles, actually, Adrian, that posted a question that had something to do with letting go of dreams, and. My thoughts on that are pretty simple. I don't look at anything in life as a failure or as I don't look at it as a failure. That's what it comes down to. Today is either a great day because you've come through so much and you're relishing in it and you're doing things are awesome, or today is a great day because now you can start to make a difference and make it better than it was yesterday. I honestly don't believe in failures. I look at it and say, what have you learned? Where you're moving forward? Because people will ask, do you have regrets in life? And I have a very hard time with that. Because no, I do not.
Yeah, I don't have any regrets in life. I mean, when you look at things from a level of failure, it's basically, a moment that you tried that just didn't work out.
Right.
That's just basically what it is. I mean, at the end of the day.
And where'd you come from? You got something from it, right?
When you accept it as who you are, that's when you begin to lose to yourself, because failure, well, if we say the word failure, it's situational, not personal.
Mm-hmm.
I can make a mistake at something and not do good, but it doesn't mean I've got to carry it with me the next day, because if I meet someone, they don't know that I messed up on that unless I say it. So it's only an experience that we either choose to hold on to, or we can use it to, move through it and use it as an example of what to do more of and what to do less of. That's what it is.
Very good. That's right. And I think that was kind of what I was trying to get at. I use the word failure, but you've got to learn from every experience, whether that experience meets your expectations or not. And it's funny that we talk about this stuff, because I'm not too proud to admit that there was a time when I thought I knew everything. I thought I was great. I thought everything. And I think people go through that. I think it's a natural thing for people to go through. And it's so important to try and learn every day.
Yeah.
And people lose sight of that. They do.
You have to. I remember my first experience when I did a live, I hosted a talk show, a live radio talk show. And this person, she called me up and she said, "Hey, do you have time on this day to do this?" And I'm like, "Do what?" She goes, "To host this show." I said, "I was a guest on your show, but how can I host your show? I was just a guest like a week before." She was like, "Well, you're good on the mic. You can talk. You know what to say."
Yeah.
And I could have easily said, "Hey, not for me." But you know what I did? I said, "Hey, I'm going to go ahead and go for this. Why not give it a go?" I was nervous as hell. I got in the studio. The producer was like, "Man, calm down. You're going to be all right." But when I started going, it felt good. And that was the best experience of my life. And this is what I mean. When you step into that courage is what I call it, and you work your courage muscle, that you're going to put yourself into uncomfortable positions. And that's how we begin to see what we're really made of. Majority of people across the planet don't want to be uncomfortable. They love being comfortable. And if that's what they love to do and that makes them happy, then all by means do it. But if you're really wanting to experience more in your life and make changes, needed changes, it's going to require you to be uncomfortable. And like you guys were saying, it's really good to step out of that comfort zone and to find ways each day to say, how can I be uncomfortable? You know what I do sometimes? Sometimes I don't wear my shirt when I'm doing this. I don't want to give my company any, but I wear like a different shirt. And I will walk outside sometimes. I'll just pick a busy street. And I'll just start talking to myself, start talking to myself. And what it does to me is it allows me to feel like, okay, I can be silly a little bit. I don't do it in the sense of scaring people. I just talk to myself. Like I'll say, "Hey, you've got a meeting at 12 o'clock. Make sure you don't miss that meeting." And then you can see people looking at me. And what it does for me is it just allows me to be, and you don't have to go to the extreme, whatever you can do to make yourself feel uncomfortable, but you have to find ways to step outside of your comfort zone. Maybe that is doing something different, like going to a different, restaurant, go to a different town, take a trip somewhere, go somewhere you've never been before, have that conversation with someone that you've been avoiding for a very long time, and to really express and say what you feel. If someone says something, say, "Hey, you know what? I didn't really like that, what you said." And that's uncomfortable for a lot of people because we don't want confrontation.
Right.
We don't like that, right? So that's part of a confidence booster, is begin to say, not in a disrespectful way, but say what you need to say. And when we do this, we can actually grow into more empowered individuals. And that's what's going on in the world right now. Success is not some remedy that's just for certain type of people. Successful people do certain things a certain way every single day. They have a system, they have a cycle of what they do, and it's in alignment with what they want. I want to go back to dreams here too, because I have a passion about this conversation around dreams. For a long time, people talk about, well, dreams, I want this dream. Here's the thing. Dreams don't come true until you do. That's what I have learned. People are sleeping on dreams. They're talking about what they want. No, have a dream, have something, but make it become a reality. Make it become a reality. Stop telling me what you want to do. Stop telling me that you wish you could. Let's make it become a reality. Let's do something about it. Let's roll over in the dirt. Let's make some mistakes. Let's make this thing happen. Because if you don't
just
do
act
that,
and move forward, right?
you grow forward.
Yeah.
You're just going to be talking about dreams, and dreams are great. But see, that's what I'm saying too about the motivation. People talk about all the time, like, oh, you got to go for your dreams and all this. That's nice. That's good. But we're in a different era now. And people need to stop focusing on just saying they have a dream and start focusing on making it become a reality. Because if you're not going to focus on making it become a reality, you're not serious about it. And you're wasting your time.
So I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. And I dragged Greg to Las Vegas to make this happen. So it was probably 3 or 4. I can't remember. It was years ago. My favorite band in the world is a band called Roger Clyne and the Peacemakers, and they used to be called the Refreshments in the 90s. And I absolutely hated.
Who Dell's working on getting the drummer in as a guest, just saying.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to do another poster for them. It's kind of funny. They were just texting me. So, so I didn't like their stuff. I didn't like their merch. I didn't like some of the stuff. I thought they could do better. So I managed to enter a Photoshop contest that I won. And I managed to make some shirts out of the image I made for the band. And Greg and I were in Vegas at their show. And I managed to very easily actually sneak into their sound check.
Okay,
and
let's be real. We walked in, said we got shirts for the band. They went, all right. And that was it.
Yeah. So we did that. We gave the band the shirts during the sound check. They held them up and it had my company logo on it and it was great. And it was the start of a really cool relationship that, Greg's been involved in a little bit, that, I've become friends with some of the guys in the band. We still go see them. We're still doing some really cool merch for them. But that was something I wanted to do. And that was a plan that I made to make it happen. So it was a dream of mine. And you have to execute on that stuff, And, I think the fact that the guy let us in so easily was a huge part of that. But, if you feel like you can talk yourself into it, if you look like you're supposed to be there, do it.
Yep.
There are. I mean, in this world, we're populated by people. Adrian's a person, Greg's a person, I'm a person.
Thank you.
Whoever you see on the news are people. Politicians are people. Rock stars are people. Movie stars are people. People begging for change are people. We're all just people.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing different about any of us. And you mentioned it before, like success is different for everybody. So just because you make more money, just because you're in the spotlight, that doesn't mean you're different. And, I've been lucky enough to have some conversations with famous people and they're normal.
Don't do that. That's wrong.
You don't like that?
Don't do that.
Oh yeah. I meant this. This is something different. I'm going to keep doing this.
Well, like
now when I talk.
Like you were saying, that these successful people are like anyone else. They've got problems, just like anyone else. They've got concerns. They've got fears, like anyone else. You just don't see it because they don't put it out there for you.
Well, isn't that what marketing is all about?
Great part, right?
That's what PR and marketing is all about. And that's why we started doing this show. Is like, seriously, the reality is, we are people. The reality is we're all dealing with the same kind of crap. The reality is that we all get sucked into some of the stuff that some of these industries, throw at us, because all the industries are trying to sell that they are just the best thing. And all the companies are saying we are the best thing. And you know what? We're not necessarily all the best. We might be the best for this person or that one, but I think things are changing, and I'm glad to hear this stuff. I just really am. And I just want to say on a quick side, Del, that when I put the screen's a certain way here, I believe this way here, and you kind of lean in, and it gets really dark behind you. It reminds me of a Phil Collins album. All right, so yeah, almost not so close, but yeah.
Greg,
yeah,
can you feel it coming in here tonight?
Love it.
Thanks, Del. Appreciate that.
Listen, I hate
Yes.
to be this guy. I hate to be this
no,
guy.
it's been about an hour, right?
It's an hour.
An hour.
Um,
It's been good,
and
though.
this is
An hour.
what I would love to do. I got to wrap it up because I got to do some more things and I got to spend some time with my family. But one of the things I'd like to do, and I'm extending this without asking Greg first, and I don't care. But I would love to have Adrian. I'd love to have you back on this show. I think I think we could talk about a lot more stuff. I think we could probably do a longer show if we wanted to, because I feel like we've just kind of scratched the surface on a bunch of stuff that.
Yeah.
I think we could go forever on this. So if that's cool, we'd love to have you back.
You've got a yes from me. So absolutely. I would love to come back.
And I'm just throwing this on here right now, just as a quickie. Anybody watching this now? This is being recorded as well. We do get this up on our YouTube channel, so people can watch that after the fact. And they can't participate in the conversation, of course, but they can go and check out stuff like this. And that is how to check out Adrian. You can link to his podcast on that too. So that's thechampionup.net. That is what the website looks like at the moment. So if you go there, that's what you're going to be looking at. Just saying that one. So that's a good important one to do. Moving onwards, that's a good thing. And I did want to, if it's okay, you guys, just before we head out, I want to give kudos to an old friend of mine who. So we put this out last show, Del, where we were talking about. So we had Adrian. So we had a band that we grew up with that had said that they might be interested in letting us use some of their music for our theme song or our themes, just music within our broadcast. But then they ghosted us after they said that. So it was like they had good reason. They got kind of courted by a rather big name for their podcast. Is that fair?
His name is Chris Jericho.
That'd be a reason why. Yeah. Okay. So I get it by all means. But so one of the bands that I was in, the guitarist from the second band I was in called Black Ice. That's really good. I'm going to show this one too. He said, "Hey, I'd love to do this." It sent me 6 different tracks and said, "Here, man, pick and enjoy." So I just wanted to kind of share this with people. This is the guy. His name is Chris Cadet. Let me see if I can find just a little bit here for anybody who would like to check out maybe some of his stuff. If you go to bandcamp.com, his album or recordings there are called "Elusive Asylum" by CPG. That's his initials, and. Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to share that because, when we got good people doing some stuff, I like to support that. And that's all I have to say tonight. All right.
Cool.
All right, gentlemen. It's been great. Look forward to coming back next time.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Thanks,
yeah,
Adrian.
we'll be in touch. We'll figure it. Thanks a lot, guys, and everybody who's watching. Don't forget website VU. You go there, check out. That's where we're going to be uploading all of our stuff to our YouTube channel, and you can link it to it from there. And that's where you can apply to get on the show too, so that we can be part of this. Thank you so much, Adrian. Thanks, Del. It's been good.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Good night, guys.
Have a great night.
All right, Greg. We'll see you later, man.
You got her. Oh, I don't know if it's still going. I hit end broadcast, but it's still.